I can drink it during Lent. Cue the music. Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. With me, as always, is the founder of the feast, the man with the plan, the man who does it all, and I do nothing but look pretty and talk fast.
I'm Phil Me and Perich.
That's the one. Hello, Mr. Perich.
Hello, Mr. Esser.
Always happy to have you here. Oh, goodness. Oh, we had fun last night on the... Gentlemen. No, both of you, be good. Okay. Wild Men of Borneo in the background. This is why Saturday nights or Friday nights are better, because the kids are at grandma's. However, we're here anyway, and we're happy to be here. Tonight we are discussing Marvel Refresh. Because Marvel just ate a big old pile of Mentos, and now it's time for some Diet Coke.
They're cleansing that. They're cleansing that Bendis.
Yeah, gotta cleanse the Bendis. And you know what? And actually, that brings, because one of the things, because okay, so first off, this is not a reboot. This is not returning to their universe. What this is a refresh. They're putting new creative teams and some pretty impressive creative teams, I must say, on these books. So the books are continuing as they always have. Things are continuing as they should, but now with the Freshenmacher, new writers and artists. And what I think is the most important one, which isn't listed in the book we got, but you did send me that link, that Captain America is being taken over by Marvel's highest profile writer right now. I'm just saying their highest profile writer right now, Ta-Nehisi Coates. He has proven his merit in Black Panther, and now he's taking over this legacy title, which is, I think, really important. Because, not for nothing, we have had this issue, it's this issue that when you have a Black Panther, whether it's the movie, whether it's a comic book, you do want to have writers of color taking over those stories, because these are stories that are important to tell for that community. Marvel tapping Ta-Nehisi Coates to be the writer for blonde-haired, blue-eyed Steve Rogers Captain America is basically the dream. The idea that African-American writers do not have to be just the writers of African-American comic books, but that they can take on, in a very high-profile way, these very white characters and tell those stories. Moving beyond, and just to give you an example, I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, Coogler, the director of, it's Coogler, right? The director of Black Panther, yeah. He did Creed, he did Black Panther. These were amazing films. I want to see him directing Avengers.
There you go.
I want to see him. I would love to see him do Black Widow.
There you go.
Of course, they're gonna want a woman to direct Black Widow, because we aren't to the point yet where we want to move beyond that. We want to see. I think they should have given put Jenkins in charge of Justice League after her hit. I think maybe to have Jenkins do Batman. That might be a brilliant move on DC's part. And this idea of refreshing things with taking these legacy heroes and then giving them to writers with a very different perspective than anyone prior to that has had, I think is the way to go. And I think in putting Ta-Nehisi Coates as the writer on Captain America says that this refresh, while it isn't a reboot and isn't just a sales ploy. Well, it is just a sales ploy, but I think that there is an intention behind it that gives real merit to what's being done. What do you think, Philip?
Well, I agree with everything you said, and I'm happy that even though Ta-Nehisi Coates is taking over Captain America, it appears he's still staying on Black Panther. So I didn't want to lose him there. Plus, wonder if we'll get any kind of like crossovers down the road between Captain America and Black Panther. Then, if he's on both books.
Well, I'm sure they will. I mean, and what could be fun because they have touched on Cap in World War II, like interacting with
T'Chaka.
Black Panther's grandfather. No, not T'Chaka.
The grandfather. Yeah.
And now it's the grandfather. It used to be, you can do it a lot of different ways. Yeah, sliding time. Pretty soon it's going to be the great grandfather. But I think that would be interesting too to explore the secret Captain America history in Wakanda. That could be fun, because a lot of World War II was fought in Africa. People forget that, but Rommel the Desert Fox was the Desert Fox because he was in the desert. No deserts in Europe,
But a lot of interesting stuff like in this preview book, like especially that Avengers #1. I mean, I guess we get confirmation Odin's son gets the hammer back. Although, have you seen some of the images? Like, is that the same hammer? Because it's hard to tell here with the lightning, but I think in the pictures I saw, the hammer is like gold, like that arm.
Yeah. I don't think he gets the hammer back. I still don't know. I haven't read the most recent issue of Thor yet.
They haven't. I mean, I think there's like one or two more to wrap it up. The whole Jane Foster thing. So yeah, there's no answers yet, but
and you know what? Not for nothing. Thor doesn't have the hammer in the movies right now, so giving Thor the hammer isn't a requirement. That's just the truth of it. Is that it's not a requirement for Thor. He also doesn't need the hammer to control the storm theoretically. That he can be. He is not the god of hammers. He is the god of thunder.
Especially if he has the Odin power now.
Oh yeah, well he's all Odined up,
Yeah, but yeah, I saw a question. Somebody was asked a question on social media. I think was it yesterday? If in Thor Ragnarok, Hela makes the hammer explode into pieces. Can you pick up the pieces?
Well, yeah. Oh, that's an interesting question.
Did that break the enchantment, or are all those pieces still enchanted?
That's an interesting question. Maybe you know what? They just got to send Steve Rogers there.
Oh yeah.
Just pick him up, put him in a bag, take him there. Actually, what you can do with the hammer, which it's theoretically been established that you could lift the dirt underneath the hammer, and you can transport the hammer in that fashion. Because that's how the Hulk moves the hammer in, like when he's the maestro and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Although in Old Man Logan, it's just at Hammer Falls, which is where it stays forever. I'm excited for the refresh. I got to be honest with you, and I'm excited for the refresh, expressly because it's not a reboot. And here's the thing: they're keeping some legacy numbering.
Yeah.
Some of the legacy, and that's basically what it is. There's only certain books that people care about legacy numbering. There's a few legacy numbers. There's, this isn't the shift that we've come to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Is essentially what I'll say. It's not the kind of shift in Marvel continuity that we've come to expect. It's its own new thing. It is Marvel continuity continuing as it should, and then there is but it is a new direction because it's new art, new artists, new talent, and up and comers too, as well as some old hands. I mean, Mark Waid still has a job.
He's going to Doctor Strange. Yeah, because now that Ta-Nehisi Coates is on Captain America, Mark Waid's going to Doctor Strange.
Well, and you know what? I think that, And I think it was important what they did. I think that because these things are these are very long-term plans that they set up here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wager they did was they said, okay, you know what? We just did this big thing, this big controversial story. Let's bring, let's go play the hits. Let's go do our classic Cap. And they brought Mark Waid back, who is, I think arguably one of the most popular fan favorite writers from the past. Had him come in, had him do his thing, do his Captain America again as that palate cleanser, and now we're going to go in this other direction. And I know whatever Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to do, he's not going to do Hydra Cap.
No.
I mean, he may be, and honestly, he may take Cap in who knows what kind of direction. Because I think that is what is interesting when a writer takes on things. And this was actually one of the things that, they did this a few years back. They did a whole all-female creative book. And I was reading articles on it at the time, and this was one of Marvel's things. They did the all-women, all-female book. And, some of the writers said, yeah, I mean, it's great, writing for the Wasp, writing for Captain Marvel, that's great, but I want to write the Punisher. Because people want to write the Punisher. People want to write Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, writing Captain Marvel, writing the Wasp, these are great characters to write too. But, so is Captain America. Captain America's an amazing character to write. Who wouldn't want to write Captain America? And so often I think, we have this habit. And I think companies have this habit too when they're casting creatives to say, okay, you're gonna write we have a female Muslim writer. We want you to work on our female Muslim character, which is great because you do need that person who's going to know that perspective. But that said, G. Willow Wilson, she can write other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
She can write. A character who is so far away from Ms. Marvel that it'll make your head spin because she's a writer and can write things. And what she's really writing is she's writing a teen book, and she does a great teen book with Ms. Marvel, And I think she could write Squirrel Girl, because who wouldn't want to write Squirrel Girl? She's right up there with Captain America, Squirrel Girl, Much like Gwenpool, a joke character that grew way beyond what anyone expected. People forget. Well, people don't forget. I don't forget, but Squirrel Girl used to be a joke character.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the line, someone said, well, no, maybe she's not a joke character. Maybe she actually is pretty impressive. And then they had her beat up Wolverine just to show you how impressive she was when she became the nanny for Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones coming up next weekend, I believe.
Yeah, Jessica Jones is coming back. Me and Maz are still not done with Punisher. We have to get through this because we were being slow, man. You're like, because that, not for nothing, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, because first off, Defenders didn't even post yet, Because
Mm-hmm.
you're like, Defenders isn't even done yet, so let's all rush on finishing Punisher. But then, and that's basically what happened with Punisher was we were doing Defenders, and then we'll get to Punisher, and then Punisher dropped. But it was we'll get to it, and then it's a very aggressive schedule, much like the Teen Titans. The Netflix series is and the podcast thereof is a very aggressive schedule, at least for podcasts. For stuff we're doing for free, it's an aggressive schedule.
But this whole Marvel refresh thing, I don't know. I keep saying I think it smacks of me of, hey, Bendis isn't writing half our books anymore. Come on, check out what's fresh and new.
Was he really writing half their books by the end of it? How many books was he really writing?
What was he writing?
Because he hasn't been on the Avengers in a while.
Iron Man, Defenders, Jessica Jones. Sorry, anything else? Oh, Spider-Man with Miles Morales.
Okay. Okay, so he had a few books out there.
So that's four right there, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's a prolific writer, so
Mm-hmm.
I can see why they'd let him do that. But it's, and I guess what my point is, it's not like we're in the heyday when he was writing all the Avengers books.
Mm-hmm.
and which I enjoyed. I liked those books. Those were very good books.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I actually never felt that Bendis was a bad writer.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing in the preview book. It said, his final Marvel book's going to be coming out because I guess it was pushed back a little bit. Iron Man 600 is going to be his, his last Marvel work. And I saw, like in the latest issue, I know you didn't read it yet, but Tony Stark's brother Arno comes back.
Oh, the one from space.
Yeah. But then I saw somebody, I forget who's, I don't know if it was CBR or something put on, was online today, and they said, okay, Arno Stark, is there any significance to him coming back considering what the year is going to be in 2 years from now? 2020. Iron Man 2020. Because I believe the Iron Man 2020, I don't know if they said how he was related to Tony, or of course sliding time, but I think his name was Arno.
Yeah, his name was Arno Stark, yes. And in fact, I think that's where they came up with the other Arno Stark for this.
Yeah.
You know.
So are they going to go there in 2 years?
Maybe. He was Iron Man 2020? I never realized that. Yeah, okay.
2020, yeah.
2020, yeah. It's been so long since 2020 was in the distant future.
Well, they threw that, like, what was that, in the 80s? They're like, who's going to remember this?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, and that was 40 years in the future. It made perfect sense that there would be this future Iron Man, Arno Stark, with his roller skates.
With his gears on his shoulders, yeah.
That don't connect to anything. It's like purely, they were gears, but it's not like they were actual gears. They were just teeth. They weren't actually, technically, they're not teeth, they're gears.
And didn't the helmet have like a moving mouth? Or I don't know if it looked like a mouth, or did the mouth actually move?
I know, was that during the era when Iron Man had a nose?
No, I think it was after, but it was just
after
weird.
the nose era.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, funny story with the nose I've read on CBR. Look it up. Look up Iron Man's nose on Comic Book Legends Revealed. It's actually a great story to read. But no, I mean, Arno Stark coming back. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I don't think it's the same Arno Stark.
Yeah, but I just wonder if they're, in 2020, if they're going to, slap Arno Stark in armor,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, I got no problem with it.
Just fulfilling the prophecy.
Yeah. Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, only if Atari comes back, then all of Blade Runner will be real.
And then you were talking about Hydra Cap before. I think I sent you the link before. Did you see what Nick Spencer is going to be writing Amazing Spider-Man, I guess, after Dan Slott leaves?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that Nick Spencer. I mean, I liked Nick Spencer as a writer. I loved the Hydra Cap storyline. I really did. I thought it was a great tale. I think, that Hydra Cap would have been a much different story, like how it was received by the public, had Hillary Clinton won. In fact, I think it takes on this completely different story if Hillary Clinton wins, because then it's every anti-Clintonite conspiracy theorist story of the person we all believe to be this, hero of progressive ideals, and then they're actually a fascist secretly underneath. I mean, that is the crux of the Hydra Cap story. I mean, that is what the Hydra Cap story is. It's like Hydra Cap was not, an obvious. Hydra Cap was not Donald Trump. Hydra Cap was not someone who was obviously, a threat. He was the guy you believed and trusted, who was then revealed to be actually the secret monster. There was actually, it's funny, I remember this was years ago. Tell you how far back this was. This was during the Clinton administration. I was reading an article. It was actually on the Antichrist. And they were interviewing this famous, and I don't even know who it was, but some evangelical preacher, and they're asking him, do you think that Bill Clinton is the Antichrist? And he says, no, there's no way that Bill Clinton's the Antichrist. Bill Clinton's too obvious of a liar. And this is the idea, is that, the Antichrist, you have to trust him. You have to believe he is a righteous person So someone who is clearly a liar can't be the Antichrist, which is how you know Donald Trump isn't the Antichrist. Because he would have to be someone who professed, a deep religious leadership, but then betrayed that. He was someone that people trusted.
And true evil hides its true nature. Donald Trump, everything's on Main Street.
Exactly.
What you see is what you get.
Exactly. So and at the time, his argument was no, actually, George W. Bush would be a more likely candidate for a character who, if a politician were to be the Antichrist, because he professes his religiosity so much. Someone who does that could be the Antichrist, but as it turns out, George W. Bush wasn't the Antichrist at all. Because as it turns out, the Antichrist is actually Caesar Nero, died several hundred years ago. It's actually meant to be understood in the context of the time it was written. But that's if you actually study the philosophy of religious, biblical authorship. Anyway, yes, but speaking of the Antichrist, I haven't read Damnation yet. I need to read that. I need to read the most recent Doctor Strange where we play cards with the devil. But it does remind me of Gwenpool, which was one of the books I did get to read this week so far. And in it, she and Squirrel Girl defeat Mephisto to free her brother from Mephisto's realm. And, she makes the point that, gee, it's weird. The devil is a real thing in this universe, yet superheroes aren't always down here beating him up. Why is that? It is interesting that there are these objective creations of evil in the Marvel Universe that superheroes just don't spend all their time fighting. The only one who did, who was the one superhero to actively fight Mephisto?
Who?
The Beyonder.
Ah.
And actually, he didn't actively fight Mephisto. He destroyed Death because that made Mephisto powerless. So he said, what am I? If you kill Death, I don't have a purpose. Mephisto did not want Death to die. Because Mephisto was a lover of Death. Death gets around. What can you say? Yeah, that's the email. Is that AOL?
Yes. Oh no, it's not.
Okay. Yeah, it's AOL. We'll work on it.
Is there two S's?
Yeah, there's two S's, like your name. There's one S for Chaz and two S's for Esser. Okay. The kids are trying to because we just signed up for DirecTV Now through AT&T.
Oh, nice.
So we're gonna have cable again to some extent. So yay, cable. Still does not get CW streaming. So I don't know why nobody CW isn't one of the channels it gives us. I'm so mad about that.
I don't know. Remind me after this to give you my I have DirecTV give you my account number. I don't know. I know when you sign up for the regular DirecTV, if you say, "Oh, so and so recommended me. Here's my account number," they'll give you you off some of your bill and me some off my bills.
Oh, okay. I will put that in. I will. Yeah, I think I still have to register with the DirecTV site. So
okay,
I will put you in there.
And
Thank you, Philip.
We'll both get money off. Yes.
Yay! Yes. Well, actually, through AT&T, I'm already getting a huge discount too, because it's like $10 a month for the first 2 months, and I get HBO free through AT&T because apparently they said AT&T is trying to buy HBO, and so if you have AT&T now, if you have the unlimited streaming plan, which we do, you get HBO for free. So yay, free!
Yay.
Okay. So yeah, so that's that. What else is going on? You know what we really have not talked about much?
What?
Is the new Ant-Man and Wasp film.
Oh, well, I know we talked about the trailer a little bit when it dropped.
We talked about the trailer when it first came out, but there's also that trailer. There's a newer trailer that came in front of Black Panther, and and I will say this: you do see that the handle is on that building before it shrinks. So obviously, as I said, that building was built with the intention that it would shrink. That's how he can do that, because it was actually designed to do that. Hank Pym knows what he's doing.
Unless he put the handle in, built the building small, enlarged it. I don't know.
Well, actually, that's probably what he did do. I was just about to say that he probably built the building small. It was actually always a small building. And then he just grew it, to be his new Hank Pym headquarters, And I mean, honestly, I think that's going to be the most fascinating aspect of the story is how Hank Pym designed and built that building. That's what I look forward in the Ant-Man Wasp film. What about the architecture? How did they do the architecture? I want like at least 2 weeks with the engineering corps on that.
I don't know. I think you're going to be disappointed. I don't think they're going to go too much into that.
Probably, yeah.
I think. I think between now and the end of April, it's all going to be all Infinity War.
Yeah.
Now that they moved it up a week.
Yeah, although I did finally get to see the ghost in the trailer when, and I did see that it is the female ghost. And again, I'm not sure how I feel about that yet because I really loved what they did. And to be honest with you, my love of the ghost mostly comes from the Thunderbolts run. Because I think they really did something fascinating with the ghost. Like, you look at the original Ghost, when he looked like Moon Knight, he wasn't that interesting of a character, I thought, as films go.
Well, they really never give you a backstory back then or anything. It was just like, he was this, costume guy. I don't know if they even showed you the face under the mask. It was just, he came after Iron Man and everything. I think there was once with Spider-Man. No,
but when they first brought Ghost back in Dark Avengers, because that was his first reintroduction, and that was when he first got the emaciated Ghost. So where he lost all that Moon Knight weight. I'm sorry, they drew him like Moon Knight. There's no two ways about it. They made him this huge muscular guy, and it's like, I guess because when they designed it, I guess that's what they were going for. But when you look at it, like the later Ghost, the later Ghost was interesting from the moment he shows up in Dark Avengers on through the entire run through Thunderbolts. I really felt that Ghost was amazing. And what I don't want to see happen, I don't want them to shocker the Ghost.
Yeah.
You think about like how little that character got in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, but is she the main villain though in that movie, in the Ant-Man and the Wasp though?
What, the Ghost?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we don't know who the main villain is.
Yeah.
We just know the Ghost is in it. So she might be just a henchman, But I want, and like, she can be a female, but I want her to be that deep conspiracy nut. I want her to be the Ghost. I want her to be this lone gunman genius kind of character who is out there, but also has the kung fu skills to back it up. Who's I have access to all of your things and all these things, and I want that to be the case for the Ghost, and I want to see how that plays out with the Hank Pym dynamic. Because of course you're putting Hank Pym as that industrialist in place of Tony Stark, and of course that is why the Ghost, who is this strange economic philosopher supervillain. It should be cool, and I for one am excited by it. So that's my thought.
So I'm sure with the big apocalyptic battle coming in Infinity War. So are we thinking Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to take some place before Infinity War in the timeline? Maybe.
Well, does Ant-Man and Wasp come out after or before Infinity War?
After, because Infinity War, now it's last week of April, and I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is July.
Okay, it's hard to say
because it's coming between that part 1 and part 2, because we know there's gonna be 2 parts of that Avengers. So
yeah. So here's what I'll say. We know that Ant-Man takes place after Civil War. I'm guessing Ant-Man and Wasp is probably going to be contemporary to Black Panther.
Like right after Civil War.
Yeah, because we see he's on the work release.
Mm-hmm.
And he was freed because he was in the cells at the end when Cap frees them, right?
Yeah, he was in. I know he was in the cell. Yeah.
So when Cap frees him, it probably took some kind of. Actually, I think it probably takes place just after Black Panther, because he's going to need because they probably are hiding out in Wakanda and probably needs that Wakandan diplomacy to get him out of it, which would have to coincide with the opening up of Wakanda that happens at the end of the Black Panther movie. Maybe. It'll be weird if they put it. Yeah, honestly, I'm not quite sure where they're going to put it. That's the weird thing about it, and I don't know who decided to put Infinity War before that, because Ant-Man and Wasp. Because Ant-Man's in Infinity War, isn't he?
Everybody's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's weird about it.
That's what I'm saying. And I just want to know what that second movie is going to be called, because it must be a big spoil. It must spoil something, because they're still not telling us what the name of that second movie is, unless they're going to put it up at the end of the movie or something.
Yeah, it's going to be Avengers Great Lakes.
Oh jeez. But I mean, they moved up the US release to that last week of April, just like it was overseas. So I wonder if are we going to start seeing that more and more, is where Disney's going to start dropping this stuff the same day all around the world, or were they worried about something getting spoiled?
I think, well, like I said, I think that the reason they're dropping it early is to get that extra week of the US market.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this was the thing. They were doing that European and European release first. I have no idea why they started doing that. I have no idea whose idea that was. Let's release it in Europe first. Because, I guess because they wanted to build the buzz for the US market. But, you don't need to build the buzz for an Avengers film.
Especially this one now.
Yeah, exactly. It's pre-buzzed, So I think that I think that maybe what it really comes down to is they're saying, that the purpose for releasing in Europe first no longer applies. Because the idea is you release in Europe, you get this huge interest, and then everyone is chomping at the bit to get there and have that huge US opening weekend. You don't need that with this. You don't need that with any of these films from Marvel.
Plus, I wonder if it's when they're adding up the total too. It's okay, well, it made this all much already overseas. Now it's making this much domestic. Boom! First day, they're going to be oh, it's already made how many hundreds of millions of dollars first day.
Well, exactly, yeah, and then that's your other advantage, is that on your first day in the U.S., you can say it's already made $1 billion. But like I say, Disney makes all their money back, before the film even opens in T-shirts. So that's the entire business model. Sell the T-shirts. Anything else to go over tonight, Phil?
One thing we didn't talk about last night. I mean, we could just do this real quick, but Kevin Smith is still alive.
Yes, Kevin Smith. Yeah. Okay. For those who don't know, Kevin Smith had a massive heart attack recently. Didn't realize he was having a heart attack. He just thought he had a touch of the flukes. He threw up a bit, wasn't feeling good after doing a show, and then he said, "You know what? Maybe I'll go to the hospital instead of doing my second show." So he canceled his show, went to the hospital, and was like, "Yeah, you just had a major heart attack, and you actually should be dead right now."
Well, they said if he would have did that second show, he would have been.
He would have been. And so they went in, they opened up his heart, because that's modern technology, man. They just send a pipe cleaner up your doodle what's-its, and just clean out all that fat that you got stuck in your heart valve, and send you on your way. Modern technology, ain't it amazing? So Kevin Smith is alive. He will make movies in the future again. Still waiting for him to be tapped to take over one of the Marvel or DC films.
Oh,
I don't know if they're ever going to do that, but I for one would love to see that. I would love to see him do one of the Sony pictures. Oh, he would do great with the Black Cat Silver Sable song.
What about Deadpool?
Oh, he might do a really good Deadpool. I could see him doing the Deadpool.
I mean, a lot of his material is like sexual jokes, and so I think.
You know who he should do? DC, snatch him up now. Kevin Smith should do the Ambush Bug movie.
There you go.
There you go. That's my recommendation to DC. You heard it here first. Okay. Philip, if people would like to reach out to you, talk to you, find out what's what and who's that, how can they find you?
I can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. And on Twitter, I am @nightwingpdp. And follow the Capes and Lunatics and the Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks. That's right, 2 podcasts now. At Capes Lunatics on Twitter and at CL Sidekicks on Twitter. And our voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And I heard a rumor that Miss Lilith Hellfire, while she won't be here next week, may send us a voicemail.
Sweet. Okay, and of course, you can always write to me an old-fashioned email with Armas and Pause, and even Kevin Smith once did at Charlie Esser. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things with TV at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for connecting with us this week. Please connect with us again. Thank you, and good night. Love you too, Benny. Okay. There we go.
No silence. It's hard to
Yeah.
Snooch to the booch.